Tokyo, Japan, 1924. Imagine a city where millions of people rush through their lives every day. A city that wakes with the screech of trains, swells with the morning crowd, and echoes with the footsteps of people hurrying to their destinations. Tokyo. Among the shadows of skyscrapers and the maze of crowded streets, people's stories blend into one another. But this story is different. This is the story of two souls bound by a silent and unbreakable bond. Professor Hidesaburo Ueno, a distinguished man, wise and kind, specializing in agricultural engineering at Tokyo University. Every morning he would fix his tie, sip his coffee, quietly close the door behind him, and walk to the station. His life was simple, orderly. Then one day, a new companion arrived from the northern Akita region of Japan. A tiny puppy with a curled tail, soft fur, and a shy but soulful gaze. When Ueno first laid eyes on him, he smiled and said, "Hachiko." I'll name you that, because 8 is a symbol of infinity. With Hachiko's arrival, a new chapter began in the professor's life. They played in the garden each morning, went on long walks, and in the evenings, Hachiko would rest at his feet, while the professor smiled down with warmth. An unspoken, deeply felt bond grew between them. The loneliness that once lingered in. Ueno's home was gently replaced by companionship. Every morning followed the same ritual. Ueno would straighten his tie, adjust his hat, and head out the door with Hachiko at his side. The streets knew them. An elderly lady greeted them from her grocery stand. The florist's apprentice would wave. The station staff always smiled. Hachiko's unwavering devotion quickly captured everyone's attention. Shibuya Station was already one of the busiest places in modern Tokyo at the time. But amid the morning rush, there was one quiet, tender moment that stood out. Hachiko waited patiently until the professor boarded his train. As the train pulled away, Hachiko would take a few steps back, but he wouldn't leave the station. He wanted to be there when his master returned. PM. Every day, the same hour. The train arrived, crowds spilled out, footsteps echoed, greetings exchanged, and Hachiko scanned the passengers for one familiar face. Professor Ueno. As soon as he saw him, he would rise in joy, run with his little paws, and wag his tail enthusiastically. The same excitement, the same loyalty, every single day. It wasn't just a routine, it was a ritual of love, silently repeated each day, a testament to the invisible bond between two beings. Seasons passed, months rolled by, but their devotion never changed. No matter the weather, no matter the day, they met at the same place, the same time. But life has a way of breaking routines. One spring morning in 1925. The air was fresh, birds sang, the city slowly stirred to life. The professor fixed his tie, sipped his coffee, and stepped out with Hachiko like always. They walked to the station together. "Wait for me, Hachi," he said, just like every morning, and boarded his train. But that day, the man Hachiko waited for would not return. Professor Ueno suffered a fatal heart attack during his lecture at the university. Neither his students, nor colleagues, nor loved ones were prepared for such a sudden departure. But perhaps the one least prepared was Hachiko, who stood waiting outside Shibuya Station. O'clock came. The station buzzed with people. Passengers disembarked. Hachiko kept his eyes on the train doors, but those familiar footsteps never came. He tilted his head, scanned the crowd, gently lowered his tail, but never moved. People passed. Night fell. Still, Hachiko stayed. He returned the next day, and the day after. Weeks passed. Months slipped by. Yet every day at 5 p.m., Hachiko waited in the same spot. Ueno's relatives tried to take him away. They offered him a new home, a new life. But Hachiko ran away each time. And each time, he returned to Shibuya, because his heart was there, because the one he waited for was there. At first, the station workers were surprised. Then they grew fond of him. Shopkeepers began to know him by name. Travelers heard his story. Little children would ask their mothers, "Why does that dog always wait there?" A journalist wrote about him. The article, titled "The Symbol of Loyalty," spread across Japan. Soon, everyone knew about Hachiko. Years went by. Tokyo expanded. Trains grew faster. People changed. But every evening, at 5 p.m. sharp, one dog sat quietly at the station, unmoved, unchanged. By 1935, Hachiko's fur had grayed. His steps were slower, his eyes weary. But inside, hope still burned strong. One cold morning in March, Hachiko arrived as usual. He sat at his usual stone, gazed toward the sky. Perhaps he dreamed of his professor. Perhaps he had grown tired, not of waiting, but of loving. That morning, people found Hachiko motionless. His heart had stopped, but his wait had become eternal. Hachiko's. Death shook Japan. Thousands attended his funeral. Students wept. Poets wrote verses in his name. And then, right at the spot where he waited every day, a statue was erected in front of Shibuya Station. Made of bronze, it stands not just for a dog, but for the purest emotion known to mankind. Even today, crowds gather before that statue. Tourists taking selfies, elders in prayer, couples in love, curious children. But some, with tears in their eyes, look up at the statue and whisper, "Here stood a heart that waited forever." This is not just a dog story. It is the legend of unwavering loyalty and love from one soul to another. Perhaps we humans forget. But animals never do. They understand love, and they feel farewell. Some of them, like Hachiko, simply wait. Forever.